Wow, just watched stefbot's video on agnosticism and read the comments underneath, and oh boy, yeah, he's going to approach agnosticism as if agnostics, those who do not know something, are necessarily speaking in universal terms. And I say universal that way because stefbot uses the universe to define the material universe, I suppose, not the grammatical limits of language. And so those who do not know are called agnostics, and those who are in stefbot's targets are individuals who take a general sort of laissez-faire approach to knowledge that they can't be certain about anything, about existence, about their relationship to existence, and whatnot. Now, this is a grammatical play, I believe, at that level, but on a more precise level, an agnostic does not have to be put up in terms of degrees between theism and atheism. An agnostic is simply, an agnostic is to an atheist as a theist is to a gnostic. And so it is this lack of knowing. So if I don't know something, then I don't know it. So at that point, I am agnostic to whatever that is. And but stefbot's going to go ahead and inflate this, and then go ahead and dig into the limits of language. And he does make good rational sense that in the limits of language, you cannot put forth a truth proposition and then especially if that truth proposition is negating the very medium of the language which you're using to state that truth proposition. And essentially, that's the summation of what he's doing. From a philosophical vantage point where you are making rational argumentation, stefbot has a ground to state that x equals x. X equals x. From a philological vantage point, he does not have a stance. And by this I mean, from a philosophical vantage point, the putting forth the statement, existence exists. Existence exists. Now, if I put that forth as a truth proposition, there's no testability to that existence exists. That would be like saying runners run. Well, do runners always run, or are we only calling runners those who are running right now? So, what does your husband do? Well, he's a runner. Or does that just mean that that's all that this individual does? Well, so the root of philology is the love of the words themselves, of the logos. And the logos can be put up in rational fashions, or it can be put up in rational argumentative fashions, or it can be put up in non-argumentative fashions, non-truth functioning fashions, and this does not violate the uses of language. Language can be used in a multitude of ways. But stefbot is trying to corner somebody here and then zap them out of existence. So, A equals A or X equals X. In philosophy, X equals X because we cognate the X. X is a grammatical term referencing X's. And so like two Two what? Two, these are fingers, right? And you could say there are two fingers, but it is in the cognation. The calling, the rap of saying this one is similar to this one, therefore we're going to say that they're similar and dissimilar to everything else, so we're going to say that they're one of one thing that is not this thing, but they're very similar to this other thing, so we're going to cognate them together and say two. And we have two of these things. But the two is not about the finger. So 2 is a sign relative to the signifier. So in that sense, x equals x. The sign x equals this sign x. For all logical, reasonable, law of identity paradigms, that is the position for philosophy and for argumentation. For philology, though, on the other hand, let's skin the cat in another way. Obviously, my finger on the left is not my finger on the right. It is simply not, any more so than this x is this x. They're just not. This x is obviously not this x on the right. It's the x on the left. So x does not equal x in a philosophical term or a philological term. It just doesn't. I can promote that. I'm not offering a truth function. I'm simply noting that this scratch mark does not equate to that scratch mark. And I'll import the sign is not there. Thank you. Well, and if you're still watching, I stopped my import here because I believe that I am only going to get 6 minutes and 40 seconds of video recording time due to the I think my internet connection. My audio is crunching faster than my video, and so I have to record for 10 minutes, and then it will take the lesser of the two and it'll erase the rest after 6:40. Seems to be the problem in a lot of my videos. If I'm lucky, on the other hand, this will stop, but it's a double-edged sword because then I'm not arguing about this point any longer. I'm arguing about my time. Thank you very much. Oh, I love my hair going bald, and I love my hair as I'm going bald. Baby, baldness is cool. Let me tell you now, I love it, and let it move, darling, damn, that really is kind of awful, don't you think, Mr. Hairline? What do you think, Mr. Hairline? Before you know it, you are going to look just like Mr. Freedom Domain, Mr. Stefbot himself, Mr. Bartholomew, or however he starts his opening. Hi, welcome to Freedom Domain. I am Defend Molyneux. Defend Molyneux? Yeah, he needs a defense. This bucko needs a defense. He's the anti-religion religion. Just like all of these people that are fighting against religion. And isn't it a pity, this Proposition 8? Isn't it a pity how much I gotta love, in fact, that religion, but I have to hate what's actually doing? It's actually actually invading. Huge problem, folks. Huge.